Today we're doing some work in a nature preserve. My friend Osage Jon, who I've done some work with before, and he's been in some other videos, has some connections here, and he was asked to take down these two huge dead cottonwood trees that are right next to a walking trail. So we're down on the creek here. There's the trail that goes across the creek, and then here are the dead trees. We got this one here, it's the biggest one, and then we got this one here. It's not as big, but it's a lot more tricky to get it to go where we want. So this one right here, we can just send with its lean and its weight, which is mostly this direction. We're just gonna send it whoop, right over just like that. Should be able to just wedge it over. And then this one right here, it leans kind of back that way. And we want to try and save this little black walnut tree. And so we're gonna try and get it to swing this way as far as we can before the hinge lets go and it goes that way. So we're not gonna go against lean entirely. It's still gonna have some side weight, and that's gonna make it pretty tricky. So I think we're gonna try and use a triple hinge on that. We'll let Jon do that. Jon has some logging experience, and so that puts him in a better position for having more opportunities to experiment with low consequence situations, you know, where they're trying to save a little sapling or something, and if it gets crushed, it's not the same as if you're crushing a house or something like that in an urban situation. So this is not what we're going to do here in this video is not like what we would do on a regular urban arboricultural job, but since we're out in the woods and our obstacles are pretty low value, we get to kind of experiment and see just how far we can push things. So these cottonwood trees have been dead for a little while. They still got a lot of small sticks on them, but we're not sure how well those fibers are going to hang on. So it's all going to be an experiment. Hey guys, I just want to stop real quick and share something with you. I was editing and thinking about this, and I just thought it was important to mention it. We had some observers for this event, some folks that want to see these trees come down, and who wouldn't, given the opportunity? They were huge cottonwood trees crashing in the forest. I mean, that's why we're watching this video, right? We all want to see it. So anyhow, observers are kind of a dicey thing sometimes, and I think ANSI even has a regulation for people watching trees come down just because it's a common thing. And I realized as I was editing that we didn't have our observers stand back far enough. So you will see that. I wish I would have thought of that ahead of time and would have kind of talked to them about it and had them stand in a particular spot. They were all within reasonable distance, but they were definitely not in the ANSI specification, whatever. So just I wanted to recognize that was my mistake and that we can do better next time. And you know, if you have the opportunity to do better than we did, take that opportunity. Oh, that was an incredible sound. Wow, what a monster. She went with a big hinge too.
Well, it stayed in there.
It did. Yeah, you did. Already ants crawling out of it.
No.
Doesn't take long.
Yeah.
Saul's cutting good.
Yeah, it is. Just ran a file over it.
Perfect, as long as you didn't run it over a file.
Right. Drag it along the tailgate of the truck or something.
Alrighty. Next one is this one here. It's leaning hard.
It's nice to see that these held on like this. Good tension, because that thing, we're gonna need all the tension on the backside we can get. All right, so hard leaning, hard bent over cottonwood, dead, beaver chewed. Got this walnut tree here that's kind of scabby, and if we take it out, it's not the end of the world. It's a nature preserve, so they kind of like, if it was to fall naturally, that's okay. We just got to cut it off the path. But because of that, we're going to throw in a triple hinge back here. Hopefully that this thing hasn't been dead long enough that it's going to be a problem. Face cut it kind of towards the camera. We'll cut the compression wood off and drive wedges in there to hold it up, and then make the back cut. And hopefully the trunk is going to land straight down through here, and if we're lucky, miss some of these small walnut trees. And then the top will kind of curve around the end of them.
What are we trying to miss up top there?
Well, I'd like to miss that walnut limb, let it come around it, which is going to be a pretty tall order, but you know, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if it breaks it out, it breaks it out, but
something that's also, if you can see our rope way up there, we've got it base anchored here, but it goes up through a union up there about 75 feet because a 150-foot rope doubled over came off the ground on both ends, and it goes down to a block way over there. And then we've got our pulling vehicle, which is a Kubota tractor, out here on the path way down yonder. And what did we come up with for a total linear footage of rope involved?
It used up pretty much all of it, so 2 150s is 300 plus 200.
So 500 feet of rope.
500 feet of rope on this.
We got 3 ropes tied together just between the blocks, hoping it all works and doesn't get jammed up, but I think it'll work just fine. I'm gonna set the camera up on the bridge back here so that way you guys can see exactly how the tree falls, and I'm also gonna film the hinge down here because I think that is gonna be pretty cool stuff to see. Hopefully it holds on. We'll see.
So, triple hinge, you want long fibers, and you want to be oriented in the way of the tree and the fibers are. You don't want to be cutting across the fibers. That'll give you the maximum holding power. But you also want to be well above and well below to give them as much to fold on each other as you can. And you can see we got compression wood cut out all the way up to here. The saw started pinching, drove some wedges, and we're gonna set up the triple hinge. Normally what we could do is kind of look at the bar, so somewhere's in here is how deep I need to go, because you don't need to go into where the compression wood is, it's already cut. And then we'll make the back cut and see how she goes. wasn't terrible. But check out how this is what was holding that whole tree. And look at what it pulled out of there. So you got 1, 2, 3 hinge. And it missed the small trees over there. It ripped the top out of the walnut, but kind of is what it is. But let's go up on the path and see if we missed the path. Here's our path, not a whole lot on it. Just throw it off to the side and cut the things that are sticking up in the air down, and we'll pack up the ropes and the gear and head on out and call it a day. All right, so you can see how these fibers held on, and that thing was leaning so hard. I mean, I'm amazed that we got it to do what we got it to do, really. But the long fibers here hold the tree from going over. But if we come around the other side of the stump here, where the wedge was, you can see how the tree compressed on those 2 wedges, and then over here too, actually broke it down. And you can see that the color's different too. It squeezed the water out of this part of the tree. This is still wet and this isn't.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and which way was this? This was leaning like dead towards that walnut tree right there, right?
Yes.
And our goal was, and it was leaning hard, our goal was to get it past this walnut tree enough to not completely smash it. And so we did that. Did it go quite as far as you were hoping, or were you hoping for a little bit more? Or?
I was, in a perfect world, I wanted it to go maybe 10 more degrees.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was close, and that one limb that was in the walnut tree was pretty long. I didn't think it was gonna go through it, but as it was going over, I thought it might.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bending, and I'm like, come on, go over that and save it. But you know, it was just too much. But
yeah,
you know, trying to do minimal collateral damage, but you know, the park, they don't want to spend thousands of dollars to take one tree down that is just a hazard to the path, and especially because it's a nature preserve, so naturally it would have fallen over there anyhow.
Well, I mean, you can only work with what the tree gives you, right?
Right.
And so this is what it gave us.
But yeah, I mean, that's quite a swing there.
So I forgot to film an outro while we were out in the field, so you're getting one from the shop for this video. But smash that like button for John. I'm doing really good with the triple hinge and that other big tree. I think overall the whole thing was a really good success. And also for letting us tag along and for letting me bring a camera and go out there and film the whole thing for you guys. He did go back another day because the nature preserve is pretty close to where he lives, and he said there was 45 degrees of difference between where the tree was leaning and where he was able to get the tree to fall with that triple hinge. So it was definitely effective. I think it's super important to keep in mind that that kind of thing should really only be used when there's only low value obstacles to be avoided. You know, that would never be appropriate to use over a house or a driveway or anything like that. Anything that you're trying to avoid in an urban scenario. It worked out good. We kind of hoped it would work a little bit better, but it worked out good enough to be better than, you know, just nothing, just nature taking a tree where it was leaning. And so we're glad for that. But I can't stress enough that there is definitely an appropriate time and an inappropriate time for that kind of stuff. So if you're not sure, you know, the best thing to do is to always take the tree down, you know, the right way and a way that you can be sure about. Thanks so much for watching. If you could, please subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and if you think this video deserved it, hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything, and I mean, John pulled this off really well, so I think he deserves it. But we'll catch you on the next one.